The Big Bang Theory achieved monumental success during its impressive 12-season-long run, making it one of television's most celebrated sitcoms. Its rise wasn't just a success in ratings, it was a cultural phenomenon. At its peak, the sitcom averaged around 20 million viewers per episode, with the season 7 premiere breaking records with an historic 20.44 million viewers. It also garnered widespread critical acclaim, garnering multiple Emmy Awards, including 4 Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series awards for Jim Parsons alone. The series was celebrated not only for its comedic timing, but for its consistency in bringing heartfelt, character-driven storytelling. By its 8th season, the main cast was earning a whopping $1 million per episode, placing them among the highest-paid actors on television at the time. The show consistently attracted 20 million viewers per week, making it one of the most-watched sitcoms globally. The show's success comes from its relatable yet exaggerated look at what was still seen as nerd culture. This was a topic that had started to gain traction into mainstream entertainment in the mid-2000s. This era saw a surge of popularity in geek culture. It was no longer just a niche subculture of people that enjoyed comics, cosplay, and science fiction. It was actually starting to become cool. There was suddenly a huge surge in popularity in geek culture. Suddenly, it was no longer strange to be a fan of Star Wars or comic book characters. Premiering at just the right time in 2007, The Big Bang Theory rode this rising wave of this cultural trend. It was timely and relevant, capitalizing on the shifting societal norms. And that connection quickly propelled it into mainstream popularity. It was the right show at exactly the right time. Its mass appeal and iconic catchphrases led many to believe that this was the new generation's comedy classic, replacing Friends as the sitcom that reflected their lives and relationships. Only now there's more science and relatable social anxiety, and less ginormous cappuccinos. The show stood out thanks to its real scientific concepts, geek culture references, and traditional sitcom humor. Unlike many shows before that would sideline their smart characters, using them for more cringe material, The Big Bang Theory put their brainy leads front and center, and celebrated their intelligence rather than mocking them. The early seasons introduced a quirky and lovable ensemble. Leonard Hofstadter, Sheldon Cooper, Penny, Howard Wolowitz, and Raj Koothrappali. Jim Parsons, who plays Sheldon, has said that the show's success lies with how relatable the characters were to the audience. Sheldon's eccentricities struck a chord with viewers worldwide, making Parsons a breakout star. Sheldon's comic book t-shirts and iconic catchphrase, Bazinga, became pop culture staples. And that global impact wasn't just limited to the catchphrases. The show consistently blended science and pop culture, having cameos from Stan Lee, Stephen Hawking, and even Mark Hamill. When the show celebrated its 200th episode in 2016, guest stars Adam West and Professor Hawking helped mark the milestone, reinforcing the show's unique position between sitcom and scientific knowledge. As the series evolved, it added fresh faces like Bernadette Rostand-Kowinski and Amy Farrah Fowler. This expanded character dynamics and also kept the show engaging. The writers also made sure that the science behind the jokes held up. With the science consultant on staff, the show made it a point that the physics was treated with the respect that it deserved. It helped normalize scientific discussion on primetime television, and also inspired a whole generation of young viewers to pursue careers in science and engineering. And with its continued popularity, the generations of scientists just keep coming. And of course, Sheldon's popularity has led to spin-offs like Young Sheldon and the now running George and Mandy's First Marriage. This is proof that the character's legacy as well as the show's cultural impact continue to evolve. By blending pop culture, authentic science, and relatable characters, The Big Bang Theory carved its way into a unique spot into television history. Despite all this success, The Big Bang Theory faced a noticeable decline that can be attributed to a number of factors. And it wasn't just fans that were growing unhappy with the show. Further contributing to the series' decline, the unexpected departure of Jim Parsons after season 12 was a shock. It not only surprised showrunners, but also the fellow cast. CBS had plans to renew the show for another 2 years, and reportedly offered Parsons $50 million to stay on. But he declined, saying that the show had run its course. His departure left the producers feeling that with no Sheldon Cooper, there could be no Big Bang Theory. So, if one's going, we're all going. Parsons' decision to leave caused a great deal of tension on set, with Cuoco particularly being upset by the news. The out-of-the-blue nature of the announcement made many people think that this was just a part of contract negotiations. Executive producer Steve Howard would note in interviews that Cuoco was so hurt by this news that she could barely make eye contact with Parsons. The cast had to deal with a lot of difficult feelings following the abrupt end of their meal ticket. Cuoco also expressed dissatisfaction with Penny's storyline. She became particularly frustrated when the writers decided that Leonard and Penny would have a baby together, despite that Penny had been staunchly child-free throughout the series. By season 9, viewers had become wary, with critics even noticing a distinct decline in the sharpness and originality in the humor. The jokes were beginning to feel stale and repetitive, with many feeling that the writers were leaning too heavily on tired stereotypes and cliches. Fans felt that the characters' once charming quirks devolved into exaggerated caricatures, losing their earlier authenticity and appeal. When you've gone on as long as The Big Bang Theory did, one thing that can happen is that the audience can grow up. This can lead to a shift of opinion, reviewing what they once found was funny to discover that it's not really funny anymore. Several early storylines and character portrayals became criticized for its outdated and insensitive humor. Howard Wolowitz, played by Simon Helberg, received a lot of backlash. His character's early depiction as an overly confident and often creepy chauvinist was always uncomfortable to watch, but for some, it went too far. Helberg actually ended up receiving a considerable amount of online hate, simply for portraying Wolowitz. Although Howard's relationship with Bernadette moderated a lot of his awful behavior, many found the earlier episodes to be troubling and disrespectful. Raj's storyline of selective mutism was often played lightly as comedic relief, with him only able to suppress this issue through alcohol. This character element eventually faced backlash too. Many criticized the show for making fun of a genuine mental health condition. This portrayal became especially controversial considering actor Kunal Nayyar's real-life struggles with alcohol dependency, which was only exacerbated by the pressures and stress of the filming schedule and popularity. Leonard's character also faced scrutiny for his manipulative and troubling behaviors. As the show progressed, we saw Leonard gain some success in romance. However, when he got into serious relationships, he exhibited passive-aggressive, manipulative, and possessive behavior traits towards his partners. Leonard's dynamic with Penny often included subtle belittlements of her intelligence, which would diminish her substantial growth from the beginning of the show. Additionally, Leonard's treatment of his girlfriend Priya was criticized for being patronizing and disrespectful, diminishing viewer sympathy for the character. Penny was also a little problematic as a character. Played by Kaley Cuoco, she was initially positioned as the ditzy blonde, girl-next-door type. She seemed manipulative and yet naive, with her only purpose to be a hot girl for Leonard to pine over. Her struggles to succeed as an actress, frequently negatively compared to her male counterpart's academic success, was constantly trivialized. Even her eventual career success in pharmaceutical sales was downplayed as nepotism because she knew Bernadette, something that Bernadette held over Penny on more than one occasion. There was little genuine recognition of Penny's capabilities. However, with the talents of Cuoco steering Penny's character, we got to see her mature and become a far more fleshed out, outspoken, and independent woman. So, could The Big Bang Theory have avoided this decline? Maybe, but then we also have to remember the way the world was when it started. It might have stayed fresher for longer if the writers had keeping a better eye on the shift in comedy trends, tackled some of the criticism head on a little sooner, ditched the outdated jokes, and taken some creative risks. Even rounding out characters like Penny and making Leonard less whiny and toxic would have done it. And although Jim Parsons' exit did come as a shock for the entire show, it felt like it was time to call it quits. But if the team was more prepared for his departure, the show might have had a better shot at crafting a smoother ending, or even finding a new direction without him. As it stands, the season 12 finale is the highest rated episode of the series. At the end of the day, the show's journey from breakout hit to cultural staple to a bumpy road in the end shows just how tricky it is to stay on top in the ever-evolving world of TV. Still, one cannot deny the mark that it left. The Big Bang Theory helped pave the way for a new type of comedy and make geek culture and science cool, and also giving fans a whole lot of laughs along the way. Its legacy is solid, even if it wasn't always perfect. What do you think? Could The Big Bang Theory have sustained its popularity, or was decline always inevitable? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay tuned for ScreenRant for more insights on your favorite shows and movies.